No, you don't want to do that. That's suicidal. You don't intimidate people with guns. You shoot people with guns.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking short films.
Yeah, don't listen to you don't want to listen to advice from the characters from my short film. But yeah, we each picked short films, both about 15 minutes and kind of two different directions. I picked Bottle Rocket, the short film version, by Wes Anderson, his sort of breakout short film that before he turned it into the feature film Bottle Rocket. And Ryan picked Meshes of the Afternoon, the experimental classic by Maya Deren. So that it'll be fun to talk about them. We're going to talk about them with full spoilers, although they're short films. You can kind of watch them. They're like 15 minutes each, so you can watch them pretty easily if you don't want any spoilers.
Yeah, and they're out there. They're
Yeah.
pretty easy to find online. So, and they're worth watching. So, I would say, you know what, give yourself 30 minutes if you haven't seen these, and just go check them out. Also because, uh, especially I think with Meshes of the Afternoon, it is a little hard to talk about some of the experimental stuff
Hmm.
without, it's much better just to experience it than to listen to people yap about it. So,
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it and we're trying to talk about it, it's going to be even more confusing because it's very, very dream logic, very surreal. You're going to be like, why? It's a flower, then it's a knife. What's happening? None of this makes any sense. It's like, well, that's what it's like watching the movie a little bit too.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Bottle Rocket's a little more straightforward, a little bit of just 90s indie vibe, but both worth watching. Before we get into it, we normally do some pre some recent recs. Do you want to start it off, Ryan? I don't know if you want. I don't know what you want to start with.
Sure. Yeah. I'll start off. I'm going to get this out of the way quick because,
Oh boy.
yeah, this one is a not recommendation. So every once in a while, I'll throw in something that's like, hey, I just saw this. It's new. Don't go see this. So,
And you had a unique experience with this one.
yeah. So as many people might know, the AMC's and the Regal theaters will do mystery movies on Mondays. If you don't know that, they're pretty cool. It's always worth checking out something you don't know what it is, but sometimes you'll get a dud. So I went into this hoping for Teenage Sex and Death That Can't Miasma, or even It Ends, which are both coming out, I think, this week, either this week or next week, but both in the range that this movie could have been. And it ended up being Ice Cream Man, the new Eli Roth movie, which is about an ice cream man who turns a bunch of kids evil and they kill everyone. And it is horrible. It is I don't want to sugarcoat this.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
uh, no, seriously though, this movie is really bad. Um, it's not. I don't always like
Wow.
to just rag on movies, but I don't feel that bad ragging on this one because it was actually just it was very poorly made. It wasn't very interesting. Also, it uses AI in the special effects and stuff. And a while back there was some controversy over Late Night with the Devil using AI for a few brief interlude images, some digital design stuff that they used. And that was made back, on the cutting edge of this AI stuff. People really weren't sure how it was going to impact stuff. And they were experimenting. They tried something out. Uh, I think it's a lot different than today using AI as part of your visual effects. And also in the movie, they look like ass. I when I saw the conversations about people being like, was it AI? Was it not? I was like, I don't really care if it is or not right now because I just know I left that movie and it was not good. Those effects were bad. The art was bad. But it did turn out that yeah, he admitted to using AI in the effects.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, this has quite horrific reviews
Yeah,
online. So yeah, it doesn't looks like you got the AMC Scream Unseen. Is that what it's called? It
yeah,
got you this time.
yeah. It screwed me in the scene. I don't. That was bad, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Also, it kind of stinks that so the only reviews on Letterboxd of this movie are people that saw it through the screen unseen because I checked beforehand. There was no reviews when when it starts. So it wasn't at like film fest or anything like that. It doesn't seem. And now I'll tell you what, it does not seem like many people had a good night on Monday.
No, no, everyone seems to be quite saying it's terrible. So yeah, there you go. Ice Cream Man, I guess according to Ryan, don't see it. And I won't be seeing it. So there you go.
Yeah. So I'm taking Shane's vote too. That's 2 votes to not see it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine with me. Uh, I watched something that's really good to turn the tables
Yeah,
on.
let's do it. What'd you watch?
I watched something awesome. I don't know if you saw it. I think if you haven't, you should see it. Speaking to Ryan, but also speaking to the viewers. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. It's currently on Hulu. I missed it when it was in theaters. Obviously, it was getting great reviews, opposite of Ice Cream Man. It was popping off. Everyone was, and I watched it, and it was great. I had a great time watching it. I've even went back. I never watched the Nirvana the band the show, so I started watching a little bit of that as well. And yeah, just a really great movie. Actually, I don't. It's pretty incredible how they get away with shooting things that you question how they did certain things, and it's got some movie magic for sure. And it's like 90 minutes. It's funny. It's impressive. I would totally recommend pretty much anyone watch Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Nice. And this is, I don't know if you said this is Matt Johnson, right? So
Yes, Matt
um
Johnson, and
big
he
fan
has
club there.
yes, he has Tony coming out. I think next week it starts to play limited theaters. So hopefully I'll be seeing Tony at some point. But yeah, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Great movie.
Nice. Yeah, this is one I also missed in theaters. Actually, here's a fun fact. This was a screen unseen. Um, and I missed it. I didn't go to that one. I think I must have had plans or something. I forget. But
See, there you go. Sometimes you miss Nirvana and
yeah,
you get Ice Cream Man. That's brutal.
yeah, that's rough. So actually, this is the last one I've been to since I think that I don't know, maybe whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I missed it in theaters. I've been excited for it. I'm glad to know it's on Hulu. I still haven't seen it though. You did tell me that it was on Hulu a little while ago, and I still haven't gone into it. But hopefully, I'll see it before. No, I think I'll probably be seeing it in like 2 weeks, but that's okay. It'll be a good return
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from my honeymoon
And
movie.
and I think it works in your found footage obsession. This I guess
Nice.
if I mean this is a found footage movie. This might be like my favorite found footage movie of all time.
Hell yeah.
I mean that
Nice.
not that it has a lot of competition for me. Honestly, the only competition is like Operation Avalanche and The Dirties, and which are also directed by Matt Johnson. So he's the king of found footage.
Yeah, he makes some pretty good ones. That's for sure. Well, hey, speaking of found footage, here's a really unique movie that I can recommend. That I actually, this is my first time renting something on Letterboxd Video Store.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
this is not the only way to rent this movie, but I figured I would throw Letterboxd a buck or two. You know, it was $6, I think, but whatever. And this is Buffet Infinity. So this movie premiered at, I think it premiered at Film Fests. And whenever I saw that it was getting premiered or something, I was like, whoa, that looks crazy. This movie kind of portends to be played entirely through 90s style television broadcasts, mostly local business advertisements. But it forms this
Oh,
big narrative. So as things go on, for example, you have like a pawn shop and you have um, a personal injury lawyer, and a bunch of other local businesses. And so at the beginning, their ads are fairly normal, what you'd expect for like a small town. But then as things get crazier, like the pawn shop guy at one point's like, uh, come to the pawn shop and get your weapons to help defend yourself against whatever's crazy going on outside. And he always does a little jingle, right? And I did a perfect impression. Um, and so as things get crazier and crazier, the personal injury lawyer is like, have you been wrongfully indoctrinated to a cult and stuff like that? So the narrative is, I think, impressively intertwined in this extremely strange format.
interesting.
And I think it counts as found footage because it's all,
Hmm.
found in a way. Um, and it is really unique. It's really strange. It's incredibly bizarre, but unique enough where I'm like, there's no way. I've ever seen anything try to do something like that before. And it was actually pretty effective. So I would recommend this. It's really weird.
Nice. Cool. Buffet Infinity. I have not even heard of it. So I added it to my watch list. And I haven't tried the Letterboxd video store uh, feature at all. But I imagine like you'd have to watch either on your phone or laptop,
No,
right?
so I have an Apple TV mobobber thing, that plugs into your TV. And
I've heard good reviews of the Apple TV Mobile.
yes, yes, it's a little box, and anyways.
It's a box mobobber. Yeah.
And they have a letterboxed app now that you can get. And
Oh, okay.
you just sign in, and you can rent stuff on there now. And so
Interesting.
and it
That's
hooks up with
cool.
your account. So
So
if I rented something on my phone, you could watch it there.
is the app just for the video store or is it for the entire app on your TV?
I only I only know the video store part of it, but you might be able to look at reviews. I'm not really sure.
I was like, can you just like scroll through Letterboxd and browse through stuff like on your phone but on your TV? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't really experiment too much.
Okay.
I just saw that that's how I watched this thing, so I did it. But
Interesting. All right, cool.
yeah. But so
I
yeah, and I assume that most smart TVs and stuff you can use it now. So
Yeah, maybe Roku, who knows?
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, okay, that's cool. Buffet Infinity. I will say I went not to the video store, but to the theater to
Oh.
see a re-release of a classic, Neon Genesis End of Evangelion. I think I mentioned
Oh
this
yeah.
2 weeks ago that I was gonna be seeing this, and I watched it in the theater. I mean, I don't know if this is helpful to anyone because it's not. It was just one night only, but it was pretty awesome. Seeing it on the big screen, it was it was fantastic. I just had a great time. A beautiful movie. Some of the craziest, most out there experimental anime you'd ever see probably. And yeah, it was awesome to see in the theater, and it was a great time. That's really all I have to say about it. I don't know. I don't. You do have to watch, 24. It's basically episodes 25 and 26 of a 26 episode season of anime television. So you do have to watch this show to lead into it to really understand what's going on. And even if you do watch the show, you might not fully understand what's going on because it goes like off the deep end and then like through a portal into another dimension. That's pretty much where the movie goes, but it's pretty freaking awesome. So enjoyed being able to see that at the theaters. And it's cool to, keep an eye out on because every once in a while some random older movies, especially I feel like G Kids and we'll do this with a lot of like the Studio Ghibli movies and stuff. They'll re-release them every once in a while. And it's cool to see stuff on the big screen. Definitely enhances the experience.
Yeah. Actually, more and more, I think they're doing like anniversary showings for movies. I forget what it was, but The Fifth Element, I think might have just been in
Hmm.
theaters this past week or something. I think The Evil Dead might be or might have been re-released but they do this quite frequently now. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely keep up with your if there's a local theater, do you guys check? I feel like it's usually like Tuesday and Wednesdays. Probably the least busy
Yeah.
days on the theater.
Yeah. And like normally it's like in cities there might be like repertory theaters that do this type of thing often, but it's kind of cool that I feel like it's spreading to like multiplexes and stuff. Even if it is just like on, once a week or something.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Nice. I'm glad I know you were very excited about that last week. So
Yeah, it was
nice.
pretty sick. Now, I mean, now that we're recording, it was like a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah, right.
that's okay. It was awesome.
Well, here's a recommendation that you recommended a while ago, and I put it on my watch list, and I finally ended up watching it. The Rip, which was
Oh yeah,
on Netflix. I think it came out this year.
but
Um,
January. It was like
January.
one of the first. It was like early January.
Yeah, and this is it has Ben Affleck, it has Matt Damon, and you know what? After the Odyssey, I was like, I gotta watch more Matt Damon, and so I watched this and the Talented Mr. Ripley. So two are right there,
Nice.
but I'd seen the Talented Mr. Ripley before, but I hadn't seen the Rip, and uh, this was pretty cool. I was pretty impressed. This movie. it's essentially about a group of cops that are trying to uh get this money from a like cartel stash house or something. And uh obviously when there's a lot of money involved, people might be tempted to do some stuff, and so you're guessing this whole movie on who might
Who
be
do you
corrupt,
trust?
and yeah, who do you trust, and all this stuff. And there's an underlying mystery behind it all too, that's really, I think, pretty well done. I'd say the climax is maybe not as good as some of the build up to it, but it was still worth watching for sure. I had a blast.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. The Rip was a fun movie. I remember enjoying that one for sure.
Yeah. So if anyone else is looking for your Matt Damon Phil after the Odyssey, there's a one to go to that was this year, and it's probably not too underseen. But you know what? If you haven't checked it out yet, now's a good time.
Nice. I'll just recommend a couple shorts.
Nice.
We watched Spider-Man Brand New Day. We talked about it last week. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Not to rehash our argument, but it is the best of the Tom Holland movies. And this is my recommendation segment, so Ryan can't disagree with that or anything like that. And
I
moving
can't.
on,
I
and
can.
moving
I can jump in
on,
real
and
quick
moving on,
because
a recommendation that I have. What do you have to say?
I was just gonna say I did end up rewatching No Way Home after we discussed it,
Hmm.
and it doesn't hold up quite as well as I remembered. I still think I like it a little bit better, but yeah, I don't think it holds up quite. I think I saw it
I
in theaters and was very excited. But
I will say this is
anyways,
now we're rehashing an argument from last episode, and that's I brought this up, but I will say I've seen just since Brand New Days come out. It reminded me of there are scenes in these previous three movies where like a character will be standing on a street corner and it's entirely CGI. They're just in front of the blue screen, and those first three Tom Holland movies are just ugly. And I think the look of them, the CGI and the cinematography is like really weak. And I think Brand New Day like is such like levels above where it actually looks like a real movie and they're in real locations. The CGI in those first three movies, especially with the suit too. The suit was so bad, like in some scenes. I feel like they improved all that a lot.
yeah. Well, anyways, you guys can check out more of our. That's just a little teaser. So if you haven't checked out our discussion on Spider-Man No
Yeah,
Brand
yeah,
New Day, go and check that out. That's the last episode we released. So that's I think it's 48.5. But let's get
yeah,
back into our recent recs. We'll let you
yeah,
guys.
yeah. I did watch some other short films because I was deciding on what to choose for this episode, and I will say there's a short film called Corey's. It's on YouTube, starring Connor O'Malley. Fantastic short film. It's kind of just about, well, I don't know. It's kind of, if I wanted to show one person about the modern male internet experience, I would show them the Corys.
Wow.
That's what I would say about the Corys. It's cool.
And
It's
this is I think I looked this up one time after you told me about it. Is this spelled Coreys?
yes,
Not like you Corey a question. Not like that.
Corey. Like it's not like a quarry like where
Yeah,
you dig.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's not
right.
like that. It's Corey like the
Gotcha.
name of a male named Corey. Oh, I guess or a female, a person named Corey.
Yeah.
Coreys. Yeah. Sean, it's not Sean O'Malley, Connor O'Malley. It's on YouTube. People go check it out. It's an awesome movie. And it's only like 12 minutes. And then one other short film on Netflix, Anima. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Tom York from Radiohead. It features some music from his album Anima. So it's sort of a short film with kind of just a lot of interpretive dance and kind of just an extended music video. But it is cool if anyone, I mean, if you're listening to this movie podcast, you probably like Paul Thomas Anderson. And it looks great. It's fantastic. It was just a little too abstract, I felt like, to pick for the episode. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna talk about this. I don't know much about dance or anything. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me pick something a little easier to discuss. But Anima, it's on Netflix. It's 15 minutes. The music is great. The look of it is fantastic. I've seen it a bunch of times, so would recommend people check that out as well.
Nice. Awesome recommendations. Well, I can close this off by recommending the feature length version of Bottle Rocket, which I had not seen until
Oh, nice.
after I watched the short film. I was like, you know what? I might as well watch the feature length version, and we'll talk more about the short film in a little bit. But I'll just say I liked the feature length. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. I liked it. I would say more than the short film version. And if anyone watched the short film to prepare for this podcast episode, I would say you might as well watch the feature length after.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Definitely the feature length is an improvement and it expands on sort of the basic concept with these characters.
Yeah,
But it is very interesting, like seeing the progression of Wes Anderson, I think, and how he's changed so much over time and really found his niche. But yeah, Bottle Rocket, good movie. Not one of my favorite Wes Andersons, but a good
yeah,
one for sure. Not in the bottom. There, I definitely like Bottle Rocket more than a few of the ones that I'm gonna kind of lukewarm on. But so it's kind of a mid-tier Wes Anderson in my opinion.
nice. Well, I think that's it for recent Rex then.
Yeah, unless you want to argue about Spider-Man anymore. I mean,
Nah, we've already rehashed Spider. We've already hashed Spider-Man up quite a bit.
I'm gonna
Um,
rewatch it just to bring it up next in a couple weeks. Be like, oh, you just got back from your honeymoon. Guess what? Spider-Man Brand New Day is better than No Way Home. Make everyone
that's awesome.
torch you.
I yeah, we're not gonna get back into it, but now I have to
Uh,
refocus,
yeah,
Ryan.
yeah. Meshes of the Afternoon. This is,
Yeah,
I mean, I think we should just get into it. Who knows if this episode will be shorter, but that's okay if it is, whatever. Uh, and yeah, Meshes of the Afternoon. Is your pick. Why'd you pick it? What was your
yeah,
experience with it?
yeah,
Let's get
yeah.
into
Yeah. I mean, I knew of this for quite some time, and I was looking at short films to watch. I own the Maya Deren collection from Kino, and figured it's about time to jump into it. And somebody that I quite enjoy reading their reviews and interacting with on Letterboxd had told me about it on Letterboxd, and I missed their review about it where they actually mentioned me. They told me to go watch it, and I missed that a few months ago. So I was like, you know what, perfect triangulation of things going on here where I should just watch it.
Nice.
And anyways, I knew obviously kind of the that this is a big part of American kind of avant-garde cinema, and that Maya Deren is a big piece of that. And yeah, so that's kind of why I picked it. And I hadn't seen it before. You've seen it before.
Yes.
What was the experience rewatching this?
It was, it was similar to, I'd say similarly baffling as the previous times I've seen it. It's been a while. I can look on my, this is why Letterbox is, I mean, I feel like every episode we mention Letterbox, we can't go
Yeah,
an episode without mentioning it. But it's cool. You can like check your activity and it shows, oh, I watched it for the first time in 2017. That was when I was in college. Gave it 3.5 stars. Rewatched it only about 6 months later in 2018, gave it 4 stars. Didn't watch it in the next 8 years, and then I watched it again, and then I guess we'll say what our star rating
yeah.
is at the end. But but yeah, so this is my first time seeing it in freaking 8 years, which is kind of crazy. But honestly, it was kind of the same as I remembered it, like very surreal, and it seems super influential. I don't know if it was like if David Lynch had watched Meshes of the Afternoon, but it feels like a proto David Lynch kind of a thing. And it feels, maybe inspired by like Buñuel and that type of surrealism. But yeah, a lot of dream logic and kind of like I don't know what's going on, but it's cool. And yeah, that's kind of the main viewing experience, I feel like, for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I ended up watching this twice. I watched it, and on the Blu-ray, it has a commentary by the film critic whose name I wrote down so I could say it, so I didn't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. And anyways, it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
but it was good to watch with the commentary, partly because the music in this is really great, but it was made as a silent film originally. So uh having a it's not like you're missing the dialogue or anything like that by having someone talk through it. Uh
Right.
Sometimes watching commentary and you're like, I'm not going to watch like a commentary on a movie I've never seen. That would be insane.
No.
But
Yeah.
anyways, point being, it was
Unless it's
interesting to
like Ice
hear.
Cream Man, maybe.
Yeah, that might have been more interesting.
Yeah.
But the commentary here is really really cool. So if anyone out there does have the Blu-ray, I would recommend jumping in on the commentary. It's I'd say pretty
If
rewarding to learn about.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't seen the commentary, but you definitely worth watching on its own first, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Um, yeah, it's very up to interpretation. Very, yeah. This lady is walking around, and then I don't know, some stuff happens.
Yeah,
There's imagery that recurs and maybe has a meaning, and maybe we can figure it out. Maybe not. I don't. I probably can't. But
I
but
probably
yeah.
cannot.
Eh,
So
I feel like mainly it just feels like a dream. I feel like the
yeah,
experience of watching the movie is very very experiential. It's supposed to feel like a dream and have kind of a nightmarish quality, and I think it's very effective at doing that. And sometimes dreams are kind of like this, and they're weird. You don't know what's up with them, and especially these moments of like her chasing after the hooded figure and it kind of like repeating almost felt like when you're in a dream and you're trying to run somewhere and you can't get there or you're running in place or stuff like that. So yeah, I mean we can get into the details, but I think that's kind of the main takeaway.
yeah, I definitely agree. The dream logic here is definitely the impression that you get from the movie. And just to add one thing to the commentary piece, one thing I really liked about this commentary does not try to interpret at all, which I think is really helpful when you're watching experimental film, is not to hear someone else's interpretation necessarily. I mean, I think that can be helpful, but this was just giving context, which was really cool. So,
Mhm.
a little bit of backstory about Maya Deren's life and what was going on at this
Mhm.
time and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I just have seen some of her other short films, so I know she's like involved in dance and choreography and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I I think I also noticed that it says specifically Hollywood 1943 in the beginning. So I do feel like that is maybe important in that this is like about Hollywood in some ways, about the experience of being in Hollywood. Maybe that is like an important factor because they didn't need
Yeah.
to write that necessarily in the opening credits, you know.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I think one of the big takeaways from the film, right, is self, right? And like reflection and who are you? How do you see yourself? How do you interact with yourself, right? I mean, and I think those are themes that especially women in Hollywood and in film making and stuff can really have a big conflict with, right? And I think that's really, yeah, maybe that's why they emphasize Hollywood here, but
Yeah, and maybe now I'm just putting this together, but the
yeah.
movie starts, very first shot, I believe, is this mannequin hand dropping a flower on the sidewalk. And maybe that is Hollywood is this fake, promise of beauty. But ultimately it's a fake hand. It's not a real hand.
Mm.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
maybe
or also you can think of it as Hollywood, like the prop, right? The prop hand, just dropping something that was or is beautiful, right?
mm,
it's plucked a flower and is just throwing it on pavement.
right.
Like a man made an artificial road, right? And just leaving it.
Yeah. Yeah, and not caring about it. It's like, oh, we're gonna take the flower, we're gonna hold it for a little while, and then throw you on the sidewalk and like you're dirt.
Yeah, right. You're not. Yeah, right. Exactly. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff to read into. I mean, one of the amazing things that I love about experimental film, whether it's Breckage or Gialli or Maya Deren in this case, is that there is so much to read into it, right, and so much to interpret from pretty much like you can take any still shot from this movie and you can interpret it, right, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and the imagery is very like strong. A lot of a lot of recurring images that kind of like make you want to create a meaning out of it, or suggest that there's a reason that there's a key and the flower and the mirrors, like these are all recurring images. But yeah, even just the cinematography itself is really, like, considering this is such a kind of, it's like a homemade movie, it's actually really well shot, and
Yeah.
it looks great.
Yeah. It has these kind of dramatic angles at times, especially there's this one scene when she's going up the stairs and she's kind of falling left and falling right,
Mm.
and it's kind of, I think it's supposed to be implying that the room is kind of moving, right? Kind of like in a
Yeah,
dream when it doesn't
like
really feel like you can
Inception.
balance. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good, yeah. And but the camera is using these really great, really dramatic angles and movements that really feel that scene. Um, and
Yeah.
the editing
Hey,
too, just to go along with the cinematography, the and with that scene, the editing is really impactful in those ways too.
yeah. And I think that maybe that same scene, I'm not sure, but at one point she's going up the stairs, and I feel like it was filmed in reverse, like she was going down the stairs and then they just played it in reverse. And it gives
Mhm.
it that like uncanny, dreamlike quality. And they also will use like slow-mo occasionally, just at kind of seemingly random moments, but it got, I mean, maybe there is a reason
Yeah.
to it. But all these like little techniques to throw you off, and I think kind of enhance the dreamlike quality of the
Yeah,
vibe.
definitely. I think that slow motion and also kind of the repetition of things can, like, literally the scenes, right? Like you see her looking out the window and seeing the stranger walking down the street and then herself following and then going up the stairs. And you see that exact shot a few times. And I think that repetition and I think that the slow motion kind of helps to add some like temporal distortion that you feel in your dreams, right? Like time doesn't really work the same in your dreams, right? And it's really hard to like experience that not in your dream, but seeing things just repeated and repeated kind of maybe tries to strike that same feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there are also a lot of like POV shots in the movie, which
Yeah.
is, I feel like, pretty early. I mean, I know there's Dark Passage comes out only a couple years after this, a Bogart movie with the first like 30 minutes or so are like all from his POV, which is kind of a cool movie. It's not like an incredible movie or anything, but it's kind of just, that's the notable part of it. But it feels like an early use of like POV shots in that way. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like seeing herself running after like the figure and seeing herself from earlier in the movie at a different angle kind of reminded me of like time travel movies, like almost like, I don't, well, whatever. There are time travel movies where stuff like that happens. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting. She's chasing this uh cloaked figure with a mirror for her face. So I don't know if this is like, maybe it's just an empty thing. Like she's searching for maybe either beauty or fame or something. Again, with the Hollywood idea, maybe fame isn't, but she's searching for this thing, trying to chase after it, can't quite get it. And maybe the ending is her realizing the like the emptiness of that or something like that. Then that's devastating of like or something. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, and just to finish off with the ending, right? The ending, she strikes what is now not herself and not the mirrored face thing, but a man and actually her
Yeah,
husband at the time.
yeah.
Um the co-director, Alexander Hammond. Um and she strikes his face with a hammer and it shatters like a mirror. And that's kind of
And then
the
there's the oceans behind it, which is awesome. Like just
yeah.
great imagery. I don't when this stuff is happening, I'm kind of like, I don't know what's happening, but it looks cool. And then like the very ending with her in the chair with the seaweed and everything and the blood, it's like I truly have no idea what just happened, but
Yeah.
cool imagery, and it definitely feels like tragic. It feels like this is her dying or something. I don't know. When I watched it this time, I kind of just thought of this as like some depiction of like a tragic like fractured mental state of like someone kind of going crazy. But also I don't know that that's the best interpretation of
Mm.
the movie. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the interpret. I feel like thinking of it at the end is that she's drowned, right? Like we think of drowning as like you're overwhelmed with things, right? And all these things are piling up, right? This conflict with self and this conflict with whoever that man is, right? And this conflict with like flower versus knife, right? Like do you chase beauty or or are you good or are you bad, right? Do you chase beauty or passion or something maybe? I don't know. But anyways, all these conflicts like boiling up and she can't deal with them all, right? So maybe that's the same idea of like losing it, right?
Mm.
But yeah. Also I wanted
Yeah.
to say the scene when she actually breaks that mirror, before I lose this thought, I want to say that was such a impressive and tactile shot. I don't know how she did it where she smacks what looks to be a man's face and it just shatters as a mirror, but it really the film actually feels tactile in that moment where
Yeah.
unlike really anything else in this film or many films, right, it feels so authentic and so like a mirror just shattered on my TV and I'm like what the hell, so
Yeah.
that, I don't know, it was
Uh,
very impressive there.
yeah. Honestly, they're probably just filming a mirror in that shot.
Yeah.
But it creates such an awesome effect, and then it is like layered, like they put the ocean behind it. Somehow that's
Right.
definitely. Well, you know what? They could have just been no, but he's in the room.
Well, he must
So
be
that
behind in the room, and they could have just had like
an ocean
I don't
view.
know. Yeah, something.
Or it feels like an effect though, the ocean being
Yeah, it
behind
does.
it. That feels like that must be an effect.
It could be
But
another mirror angled out
mm.
a window to the ocean or something. I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know.
anyways, I
It's
mean,
possible.
it's very impressive
Yeah.
and the two of them. So this is co-directed by Maya Deren
Yeah.
and her husband at the time, Alexander Hammond. Um and the two of them, this is very impressive. They make this in their home at the time in Los Angeles in 2.5 weeks with like $260, which is just just crazy.
Yeah. Awesome.
And they both had experience with photography and still photography and stuff. And um, Hammond had done uh, documentary filmmaking and even some experimental films before. Um, but this does feel like a really impressive uh, thing. One thing that he
Yeah.
did was apparently in 1930 he did something called Endless Walk, or The Endless Walk. But I hadn't seen this, but they were talking about it in the commentary where in that film, a man awakens from being asleep, and sees a double of himself at one point. And so that might have
Hmm.
helped influence kind of pieces of this movie, which is only 14, 13 years after he made that. So
Hmm. Interesting. I didn't know that. Um, that's cool. Yeah, and there's also those scenes where she's like interacting with the multiple versions of herself, which it
yeah.
looks really great. It's
Yeah.
pretty seamless, like pretty incredible. Uh, that it looks so good on such a tiny budget, and if it's from 1943.
Yeah, I mean, it looks better than some stuff today that tries to do,
Yeah,
like
like
what's that Neil
Spider-Man: No Way
Breen
Home.
movie?
Oh,
Sure, yeah, whatever. I mean, or the Neil Breen movie that
oh yeah,
tries
yeah.
to double pair or evil pair or something.
Yeah, that
Uh,
the Neil Breen movies are like almost as bad as Spider-Man: No Way Home as far as the
man,
visual effects go.
get
Like
out of here. But
they're almost there.
but I bring that up because Neil Breen is a
Yeah,
a person making things at his house for really cheap, right? And think about what they were able to do,
right.
80 years ago, right? And
Yeah,
it feels very impressive.
yeah. Um, yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of. I mean, maybe you could watch this as like a an appetizer and then watch Enemy as the main course. A little double feature. That'd be cool. A little doppelgangers. A little. You watch both and you're kind of like, well, I watched these things. I don't know exactly what happened, but it was cool. I guess you know.
Yeah,
Both movies I
yeah.
really like.
I have still not seen Enemy, but it's been
Yeah.
on my list. I've got to just watch it at some
You
point.
got to see Enemy. You know what you could do? Well, don't do it as a double feature. 2 nights in a row. Toronto double feature. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie,
Oh,
Enemy. There you go. It's a
that's
Toronto double feature.
there. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, there's connections, everything's connected.
But yeah, this movie, it is very impressive how this really does just feel like sort of um the expression of like this experience that you really only have in your dreams and stuff. Like it's odd to think that how well this actually portrays that feeling of waking up and being like, how is that possible in my dream? Or like I vaguely remember my dream, but not quite. And there's those moments when she sees herself, and the first time that she sees herself in this, she has this expression that the only thing I could think of was, you know, that kind of uh unclear recognition or something, like when you're in a dream and you're like, I know I should recognize this, but you
Mm.
can't. Or when you wake up and you're like, what the hell was just in that dream? I can't remember, I can't think of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if I was maybe I might have been, what's the word, uh putting myself in there for a moment,
Projecting.
to projecting, yeah. But that was the expression when she turned and she saw herself. I was like, whoa, that's the feeling
Mm.
of that feeling, right? Which is
Yeah,
funny because it's a
yeah.
feeling that like I don't even know what to call that feeling, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like an uneasiness
Mm.
or something, but yeah, we do like see she like comes in, she follows the cloaked hooded figure and then goes in and kind of sits down and falls asleep. So we see her fall asleep. Also great shot, like close-up shots of her eye and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it's definitely like it seems like being asleep and this being a dream is like right there in the text. But then it's kind of unclear how the ending uh like ties that all together. Like, is that all just still all dream, or I mean, she can't have just, she can't have drowned. It has to be part of the dream. She didn't drown.
yeah. I would think that it is part of the dream, but
But I don't know if
because
all this
also,
stuff is like a metaphor for like she's been murdered by her husband or something like that.
yeah, I mean, it could be, right? I mean, there's one point when she's approaching herself with a knife, and as she gets closer and closer to the sleeping self, it turns into her husband approaching her, right? And so,
Mm,
and like waking her up, I think, trying to wake her up, but not really because it's still a dream and whatever. But,
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, it could be. I don't know. It's it. I feel like there's a lot of interpreting that can be done in this for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I don't really know what to make of all of it, right? I mean, I think there's like the stuff that is like right there, right? Are those feelings of there's so many like dream like feelings that she's able to just put onto the film, which I think is just so impressive. But then yeah, there is this other layer of like, well, what does this all mean? That can be really interesting to dive into. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of all of it, but it is
Yeah.
interesting that there's this mysterious hooded figure that has a mirror. There's the husband in it all, and are they the same person? Is the mirrored version her? Is it
Right.
is it Hollywood? Is it something else entirely?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to talk about because I also don't have like a strong interpretation of what it all
Yeah,
means. But yeah, definitely, yeah, it gives the dream. I just really like the imagery of it. I think
yeah,
the way
exactly.
they like the creativity of it all and the imagery is really strong, and uh all the little tricks like the slow-mo, the reverse, playing things back in reverse, like all that stuff just makes it a really unique like film watching experience. So even if I don't have a full like interpretation of it or whatever, I still think when I'm watching it, it has kind of a hip. Also, the score. I watched it with the score by I forget the guy's name. I think it's like
Teo
I think
Ito.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Teiji Ito, I guess. Yeah. I think there's multiple different musical scores that this has like can play with this. But yeah, this one it like enhances that hypnotic feeling for sure. Just
Yeah,
kind of the like dissonant, kind of off beat, off kilter. It doesn't really, it. It
Yeah,
gives you an uneasy feeling as well. And I don't know, it's just a cool, unique experience.
definitely. Well, here's a little tidbit about the score that I learned from the commentary. The score. So Teo Ito was a like co they collaborated on things before, but Deren ended up uh marrying uh Teo Ito after divorcing with
Alexander
Alexander
Hammond.
Hammond.
I
And
mean,
and
these names tough.
and after that in 1959 they ended up scoring this movie together. So she worked with Ito to score it, and they actually did that as a response to a lot of people trying to interpret the movie through the lens of surrealism because she wanted it to be more. Uh, well, my understanding is that she wanted it to be more like this is a movie that has clear connections, right? It might be weird and ambiguous and dreamlike, but that's the point. It's not a movie like that is surrealist and just kind of maybe seemingly unconnected things, right? These every
Yeah.
moment should feel connected to another. And so people were trying to interpret it through like a surrealistic lens. And so she said, well, let me put music in there that kind of underscores that a bit. So
Mm. Yeah, so there is some kind of a meaning here. It's not like sort of a Boonwell,
right.
uh, purely like the randomness is not the point, like it is in some
Exactly.
surrealism.
Yeah, which I think is interesting because it does lead a lot more credence to the idea of trying to interpret the movie. Again, I don't know if I like
Mm.
I've seen this technically twice, but it's like twice in
Yeah.
the same half hour for a
Yeah.
14-minute movie. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
back to back with the commentary, and so I don't know if I can really make a great interpretation right away and stuff, but it is
Yeah.
interesting just that yeah, she explicitly wants it to be or wanted it to be more of a movie that you should try to interpret and also a movie that you should interpret kind of more maybe directly, right? Like it's not something that it is something that's about the dreamlike state, right? That's kind
Mm.
of I think the statement she was trying to make with that scoring.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. And it also does feel like a very female, like about the female experience, the experience of being a woman, and like I'm sure there's all sorts of obviously not we're both guys, so I don't know if that we have the perfect lens for that interpretation, but I'm sure that you know women would connect with this movie in a different way than we do for sure. And it is cool that it's such an early version. Like there really weren't many female directors in Hollywood at this time. Like Ida Lupino was directing some stuff, mainly I think more in the 50s. But even then, it was she's not necessarily like the main creative force behind it. Like she's not necessarily writing, directing, and having a lot of power in the making those studio movies. So like in this independent realm where you're making this movie on a with your own money and doing whatever you want, like you can get that sort of window into like the feelings of being a woman in from through Maya Deren's eyes, kind of. That's how it feels to me to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think that makes a lot of sense. And maybe it's also again part of the reason of putting Hollywood right there at the very front. And notably Maya's name first, right? Maybe a lot of that is kind of this, you know, kind of going in firm and saying like this is made in Hollywood, right? It's obviously not a Hollywood production, right? It's not in the Hollywood like production companies, but it is made in Hollywood by a female director who's making this movie, and that in itself is a statement at the time, right? Even today, but
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Cool. I don't know. I feel like at this point I'm gonna start talking in circles and fall into a dream logic. I'm gonna start walking backwards.
yeah.
My headphones are gonna turn into knives or something. I don't know what's a flower is gonna appear. I don't know.
Well, I'll say real quick, just the last couple of things I had notes
Hmm.
on was so Deren was in many forms of art, very passionate about a lot of stuff, choreography, types of dance and stuff. But also before this movie, she was a very passionate poet, and this is her attempt to take poetry into film, and that's kind of, she said that she wanted, and she credits her husband at the time for being able to do a lot of the film stuff that she didn't know how to make the visuals that she wanted, right? And so he was a big help there. Um, but this was, and I think this is true for a lot of film, but I think especially in the experimental realm where a lot of it can feel kind of like poetry. It can flow kind of like poetry, and I think this really does. Where almost those repetitions, right? That's a very poetic piece, right? And the way that things are almost broke up into these mini pieces are kind of like the stanzas of this film, and that's kind of neat. So cool to
Yeah.
see. Yeah, just that she's a poet, but is able to make this into film, and she does that later on too, right, with the choreography and putting that into film and stuff too. So
Yeah. This
uh
does give me the a little bit the feeling of like reading a poem and being like, I don't know what that meant. But at least when you
yeah,
read a poem, it's just words on paper. But this one's got nice imagery and cool, and it's a
yeah,
little bit more of an experience. So yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I definitely see like my first thought is to think of this as more of like a surrealist film, but think of it as like a poetic film also does make sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the only other thing I want to say is just there's one shot where it's like right after she falls asleep, where it's a shot of the window, and it pulls out, and you get this like literal tunnel effect that's happening as we're seeing the street kind of further away, but you see this tunneling effect of, I don't
Oh
know if they just
yes,
used like a can or something, but it was really
I think
cool.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
And I think that's supposed to be the transition into the dream world, but it
Mm.
looked cool, and that was maybe my favorite shot from the thing, which is saying a lot because there's a lot of really awesome shots in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good point. Um, cool. Should we do our ratings and
Yeah, I mean, it's a short film. There's not all that much to say about it. I mean, that's one thing, is there's a lot I think there's so much more to say about this movie that we just, I don't know. I can't interpret it all that well, but
yeah.
I'm sure. And you know what? This is a movie there are plenty of academic articles written about, I'm sure. So if anyone's
Oh
really
yeah.
interested in like interpreting this movie, uh I'm sure you can find cool stuff out there on it. But
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like I'm like, well, this maybe this is involved, maybe this is involved, but I don't have a cohesive
yeah.
thing. But it's like there's the breadcrumbs are there. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, obviously after you guys finish this episode, let us know what you guys, how do you guys interpret this movie? There's a
Yeah.
lot to interpret. So but yeah, Shane, what'd you give it?
I gave it I gave it a 4.5 this time. I think it's great. Totally like unique experience. And at that runtime, it's like you really can't go wrong, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I went up 3.5 to 4, and then I'm at 4.5. Probably closer to a 4 than a 5, just for me right now. But I mean, it's a great movie, definitely a classic for a reason. And yeah, I'm glad we could talk about it.
Nice. Yeah. Glad I picked it because it was such a unique experience, and glad that you were able to bump up the score a little bit. I mean, that's great. I since I don't know, this is a weird one. I watched it and I gave it 4.5 stars. And then when I watched it with the commentary, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This is a 5 star for me. So
Mhm.
I just gave it 5 stars this time.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, I was, you know what?
The
I don't know if
commentary
I
was that
fully
good.
understand it, but I mean, I will say the commentary was very interesting in the sense of just understanding more. Again, not even really about the film, but just a little bit about um, Maya Deren and a little bit about the film. I mean, like for example, learning about why the music was added into the film and stuff like that was interesting. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's fully just the commentary or also like uh I don't know, like I don't know if me not being able to fully interpret it for everything it's worth should bring down the rating at all for me. I'm like, because that was really the thing, right? I finished it and I was like, that was amazing. And what the fuck did I just watch? And so I was like 4.5. But thinking more about it, I was like, do I care if I can interpret it fully? Like, I know there's stuff to interpret here, and maybe I'll
Yeah,
get there as I think more and maybe even watch it more at some point. But
yeah,
so anyways, yeah. So I give it five
cool.
stars. It's cool. It's I mean 14
It-
minutes. This is like one of the densest
oh
14
yeah,
minutes you can have.
yeah, and I mean, this is the ultimate of a Ryan movie. This is you could watch it how many times? You could watch it 6 times, and it wouldn't even be 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's you should honestly. That would be like a challenge. Like
Do
watch
that one day.
Bachelor of
Be
the
great.
Afternoon 6 times in a row and see like, do you go crazy? Will you be in a psych hospital? Will
Yeah.
you like be drowned while also being on a couch somehow?
You gotta get it on just on replay somehow, like looped, so
Yeah.
that and maybe even cut out like the title card, so you don't even know when it starts and stuff. Is it just repeating again? What's going on? Right? That'd be crazy. Just a 90-minute cut of this where it's just the
I
same thing over and
I
over.
think that would be insane. That would drive people crazy.
I'm doing it. Well, there is a rating recap for this one. Uh, this movie it's a classic. It's very well received, but just to go over it real quick, it's got a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's got a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's got a 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and an 85% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes sense. It's weird. And that brings it to an average of 8.67 on our metrics here. So, uh, one of our stronger movies, which is great for short films. I mean, I think
Yeah.
short films are always a little bit hard to rate. It's like, you know, you're not spending that much time on it, so it's like, how bad can it be, right? I mean, that's a weird way to say it, but like,
I feel that way sometimes where I'm like, well, that wasn't great, but it was only 5 minutes long, so
yeah,
I'm like I didn't hate it, you know. But
yeah,
then also sometimes you'll watch one, and you'll be like, that was cool, but they didn't necessarily like flesh it out all the way to where it wasn't as impactful.
yeah,
But also there are short films where you watch it and it's 10 minutes and it can be super impactful if it's done like really well. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's one, like this one. I'm sure, like, I will be thinking about this movie a lot. So for that, it's like, what am I? I don't know. What am I supposed to rate it? This movie's awesome. I'm gonna be thinking about it forever. Bam, 5 stars.
Nice. Nice. Good. Glad you liked it so much. Uh, I guess we should just get into Bottle Rocket.
Yeah. So there's no good seamless transition here. These are very different movies. But
Yeah.
Shane, this was your
There.
pick.
Well, speaking of black and white movies, here's Bottle Rocket. Wes Anderson, 1993, his like short film, which was eventually turned into the feature film Bottle Rocket, and then obviously he's actually made some shorts more recently, but yeah, definitely it's co-written by Owen and Luke Wilson and also starring Owen and Luke Wilson as these two well, I guess they're friends, Dignan and Anthony, and they're kind of causing trouble. They're almost like LARPing as criminals, but they want to be criminals. They think it's exciting, but it's almost in like such a small way, which is expanded on in Bottle Rocket, I think. But yeah, I just thought this was interesting as a contrast to the rest of his films, where it's in black and white. I mean, he uses black and white occasionally, like in French Dispatch in just sections, but pretty much color is such a big thing in his movies and the precision, the production design. This movie is so bare bones. It's in black and white. The cinematography is a lot less precise and a lot more free. It feels more like 90s indie movies like Clerks, or even like influenced by like Tarantino, like Reservoir Dogs, in the dialogue that I felt like there was influence there. And it felt also influenced by like French New Wave stuff, like Breathless or Band of Outsiders, with the like handheld camera, and we're kind of running around. There's the scene at the beginning where they're robbing a house and there's the jazz playing in the background. I'm like, okay, if these guys were speaking French, I'd think this was like 1961 Paris, a couple of rascals. If they were speaking French and smoking cigarettes while they were doing this would be a French New Wave movie. Um, but yeah, like those connections of like Kevin Smith and Tarantino and French New Wave. Honestly, none of that really applies to any of the rest of his movies. So I feel like this is kind of a unique, like, and it is also it's written by Luke and Owen Wilson, so they probably also have a big creative input in the final product there. So maybe that's also their influence as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I actually hadn't seen this. I'd seen Bottle Rocket, the feature, years ago, and actually, it's been a long time. I probably should rewatch the feature at some point, but I had never seen this before, and I really enjoyed it. I think it doesn't blow me away. It's not as like monumental as Meshes of the Afternoon or anything. Also, Ryan, you oh there you go. Okay, you froze for a sec, but now you're back. Um, but yeah, it's not as like monumental as Meshes of the Afternoon or anything, but it's I enjoyed the small nature of it, and I think it's kind of cool to see the early beginnings of Wes Anderson, who became really like one of the biggest like indie directors of the my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's Owen and Luke Wilson's first movie as well, which is cool because they're pretty big. I mean, they're in lots of stuff, and
If it wasn't for this, we get no
um,
Kachow.
yeah, it has a lineage, I guess. You know, it's the start of a lot of stuff. Um, with that being said, this is my first time watching it. I watched it. I watched the feature after, and I liked the opening. I liked the robbing the house in the beginning. I thought that was interesting, and I was pretty intrigued by what was going on, and I liked the characters. I was into it at the beginning, and then they go and they get the guns, and it started to kind of lose me a little bit, and then they go and they talk about doing a robbery, and then they there was one cool scene where they're talking about how they're going to do it, and Owen Wilson's talking about it. And meanwhile, I think this is when Bob and Anthony are grabbing the gun, and he keeps yelling at them not to grab the gun while they're at the table. But which was funny. But there's cool cuts to the video store or whatever it is they're going to rob, the bookstore, I think. And I thought those cuts into that dialogue was cool. And that's kind of where it kind of lost me a little bit because after they plan it, there's nothing else actually happens in the movie because we just end up seeing them talking over burgers and they're talking about the heist that happened. Um, and I felt like that was kind of a big letdown to not see any of that and stuff. And I did really like the opening, but then yeah, I was kind of just at the end, I think.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I didn't mind it because I thought I mean, it was probably also a just a kind of trying to be clever way to avoid filming a very difficult to film
Yeah.
segment, you know? But also, I feel like that could also be the influence of Reservoir Dogs and them wanting to be like, oh, we're not going to show the robbery kind of a thing. Um, so yeah,
Interesting idea that it's like Reservoir Dogs. The thing is, Reservoir Dogs is all about the aftermath, right? And the aftermath, I mean, Bob walks away and is clearly not very happy, but that's kind of it. And so yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think that uh if that is an influence, I feel like this didn't pull off the same thing, obviously. But
hmm, I get that. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought, yeah, I thought it worked kind of seeing I don't know, like Dignan is pretty like excited afterwards, and everyone else is a little bit just kind of they seem kind of disappointed, a little bit like, was this worth it? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of just a unique like these two random people in this random town kind of trying to be big, almost trying to be a character from a movie and kind of failing at it and also just being selfish and doing this stupid stuff. Uh but more out of like ennui and like meaning, having an aimless life, rather than like they don't they probably aren't like super struggling, like they're not, they seem like they're in like a decently normal suburban town. They're not like evil and oh we want to kill people. They're not crazy. They're just kind of like bored and they just want some excitement in their life. And I guess they don't have like a good sense of morals, so they just are like, oh, let's just this is kind of cool for movies. Let's do this. but yeah, I mean, it's a very like small scale, small little thing. And I appreciated the smallness of it, and uh, yeah, I overall I enjoyed it, even though it wasn't groundbreaking or anything.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely enjoyed. I would say I enjoyed most of it, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I was just a little let down by the ending,
Mm.
but going on with what you were saying about they're kind of like they're probably fine, right? Like they're fine off. They're just doing this out of boredom and stuff. Isn't it? Don't they rob Luke's? Sorry,
Yes,
Anthony's parents' house.
yeah,
It's
yeah. At the
that so like
beginning,
they're fine. They're just
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
They're just like idiots that are trying to. But at the beginning, you don't know where they are. Then he's like, you find out that it was his parents, and it's kind of like these guys are just idiots, you know. Um, And yeah, and then the very ending with them like racing, I feel like it also this is maybe I'm just making this connection because I heard Matt Johnson on the Big Picture podcast, who's well, actually it wasn't on Big Picture podcast. It was just some interview with him. Uh, and he mentioned how a lot of his movies are kind of about like how we're always still kids and they're really about kids who are turning into adults and they're kind of still kids at heart but they're trying to act like they're adults and this almost felt like a similar thing which obviously that's a thing in like Nirvana the band the show and the movie but yeah they're like they're trying to do something to be an adult but they kind of don't want to know what to do and they're just idiotic like teenagers I guess and it's kind of like a yeah, I don't know. There's something to it. All right, we're back. This episode
We're
is going to be
back.
a nightmare. There's going to be editing. Who knows if this is listenable? Who knows if we're going to have to re-record this? But right now we're back. But yeah, Matt Johnson was saying that thing about mainly about his movies, about how his movies are like that, like these kids pretending to be adults. And I feel like that kind of applied to this movie as well, and even Bottle Rocket the feature too. But yeah, I think overall it's a small scale like starting picture, but I feel like you can see I don't know, you can see its influences on its sleeve, and it's kind of interesting how it goes in a different direction like over time. But yeah, overall I like it. It's not the most amazing short film I've ever seen, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. I think, and you know, I think it is. I think it's fine. I don't think it's like bad. I would recommend people watching it. I don't know if I would like care to. I mean, it's only 14 minutes, so what am I saying, right? But like,
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna go out of my way to rewatch this. Kind of like Matches of the Afternoon. I'm gonna watch again at some point, right? I'm not sure if I'll watch this again, but I'm
Yeah.
glad I watched it. I think it's a pleasant 14 minutes, even if the ending isn't everything I was hoping, maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's made on. I'm sure this is made with like no money.
Probably, yeah. And I agree that it probably doesn't have a lot of rewatch like value, but another thing also I think with the is probably a Luke and Owen Wilson like influence is that the movie is like a lot dirtier and more vulgar and just a little more explicit than a lot of Wes Anderson's other movies, I feel like. Like it has a very different like vibe to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. I think, you know, yeah, it's interesting that they have like a pretty different career. I think that this is. I think it's interesting. I think it's worth watching. But yeah, I don't know if it's really my cup of tea all the time. I mean, I think again, I think there's the cool shot of the clips being of the store kind of being interwoven was cool. But otherwise, I wouldn't say there was too much that really impressed me. The anyways, I think it's fine. I think it's worth watching. Um, I gave it 2.5 stars, a high 2.5. I was between that and 3 stars, but again, I don't know. It's kind of hard to rate short films, right? So I just ended up 2.5 here. But what are your final thoughts and what'd you rate it, Shane?
Yeah, makes sense. I pretty much agree. I think it's a cool short film. It's, got a lot of the pop culture references and the snappy dialogue, the French New Wave influence. There's a lot of pop culture references. Tarantino, Kevin Smith, French New Wave, unique for Wes Anderson. I enjoyed it. Nice calling card film from the 90s. A lot of short films are this kind of a start a career type of a thing. So kind of a very different than Bench of the Afternoon being a more experimental art house version of a short film. I enjoyed it. 3.5 stars. It's only 14 minutes. If it was expanded longer, it probably would go down. But because it's only 14 minutes, it's 3.5, enjoyable, liked it. Final thoughts.
Nice. Ironically, it does expanded further.
Well, it does, but it's much better.
Yeah,
They have more money and they're able to
I'm
go to
just kidding.
different locations. They get a motel. It's a big production.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. All right. Is it? I don't know if this episode's even listenable. We're gonna see what happens. Is it time to pick out of the category cup? I'm over here. If anyone's on YouTube, I'm over here. If you're on YouTube, please give us a like. Gosh, we need it. We're gonna need new Wi-Fi after this. This is unbelievable. We're on the podcast apps, all that stuff. I'm picking a topic. This will be our in 2 weeks. After Ryan will be a wedded man. Wow, wow. I didn't even realize this was in here. Roland Emmerich. So yeah, I guess our next full episode will be Roland Emmerich. Next week's episode will be The Princess Bride, which we have already pre-recorded because Ryan will be on his honeymoon and all that. So congratulations to Ryan. And yeah, then we'll do a Roland Emmerich. Check our letterbox. Go Mind Your Movies, all one word. You can find both of our profiles linked in the bio, and also you can find a link to like my list of the Mind Your Movies stuff to keep track, and you can get a little hint of what our choices will be for the Roland Emmerich episode. I think that'll be a fun episode. Those are crazy movies, so a lot of fun options. So, Ryan, do you want to say anything else, or do you want to not? Okay, Ryan's not even going to speak. This has been this has been a traumatic experience. Ryan has turned into Buster Keaton. He can't speak. A house is going to fall on him. All right. Anyway, thanks for listening. If this was a listenable episode, we appreciate it. Stick around. Yeah, subscribe. We appreciate it. All that stuff. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Don't forget to mind your movies.